two men to kind of bond, and there's nothing more American than the Final Four, or the first four, the NCAA basketball tournament. And if you're trying to impress a foreign guest, I can't think of a better way than to take them to an NCAA tournament basketball game, and where better than Dayton, Ohio, where, of course, we have some of the best college basketball fans in the country. Watching the doorway now, the door is open, the presidential seal is in view, and just waiting now to get our first glimpse of President Obama and his guest, British Prime Minister David Cameron, who, by the way, becomes the first foreign dignitary, foreign leader to travel aboard Air Force One with President Obama since he's been in office. That caught me a bit by surprise. I would have figured that would have happened at some point, sometime in the past 3 years, but this is a first. It's kind of neat. Again, a nice little slice of local history for us, that the first local dignitary to fly on board Air Force One with President Barack Obama was the British Prime Minister, and they came right here to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base and the Miami Valley. There he is, President Barack Obama and his guest, the British Prime Minister David Cameron, emerging from Air Force One, giving a wave to the assembled crowd here, mostly media, a few military personnel here as well, just to our left. But a nice view of the two men as they make their way down the steps. Handshakes, the governor shaking hands with the president right now. The president making the introduction, introducing the Prime Minister to Governor John Kasich. This will only take a few moments here. It's a small party greeting the two because they've got a game to catch. Tip-off at UD Arena is 6:34 p.m. And even though the roads are cleared, they still have some ways to travel between here and UD Arena. But a nice conversation here. Governor Kasich right now doing most of the talking. And the three men exchanging pleasantries right now. I'm sure the Prime Minister being welcomed to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, to the Miami Valley, to Ohio, as they prepare to head for UD Arena. You know, the official White House position on this is that this is not a political or campaign visit, but you know, it is important, I think, to point out that, of course, it is an election year. Ohio will again this year be a critically important battleground state in the battle for the White House, and we've seen that, of course, with all the GOP candidates who pretty much been making themselves at home here in the Miami Valley and the state of Ohio for the past month in the run-up to Super Tuesday. I mean, they left a pretty big footprint here as far as the personal appearances they made and all those countless TV spots that we saw from the GOP candidates in the past several weeks. So this does give the president, this is strategically a pretty smart move on the part of the White House. This gives the president a very timely, given the heavy recent Republican presence here in our state, a very timely, very high-profile appearance in what is a very critical state in this 2012 presidential election. The last Democrat, as you may know, to win the presidency but lose Ohio was John F. Kennedy all the way back in 1960. So President Barack Obama knows well he needs another win here in Ohio to remain in office. Of course, he won Ohio narrowly 4 years ago, and I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of the president later this fall and whoever the Republican nominee turns out to be. Again, the greetings, some military personnel here from the base, I assume, meeting the president right now, getting to welcome him as well. But before long, everybody will pile in the limousine and head south to UD Arena. This will be a brief visit. The two men will be in the Miami Valley, we expect, for only about 3 hours' time. They're expected to depart tonight about 9 o'clock. If you want to keep an eye on the skies with the time change, you may be able to catch a glimpse of the plane as they head out of town later tonight. This, again, part of a 3-day official state visit for the Prime Minister. Tomorrow, the President will be hosting a state dinner for Prime Minister Cameron back in Washington. The purpose of the official visit is to discuss the upcoming NATO and G8 summits that I referenced earlier, and, of course, the security situations in both Afghanistan and the Middle East, which dramatically affect both the United States and Great Britain. I mentioned earlier that Prime Minister Cameron is the first foreign leader to travel on board Air Force One with President Obama, and two of the youngest world leaders in the world right now. At age 45, Cameron is the youngest British Prime Minister in England in nearly 200 years. So the jackets are coming off, the two men getting ready to relax and take in some basketball. Here we get a good look at the two men right now walking toward us. President now in shirt sleeves, and the Prime Minister just to his right. And they are walking here to greet some of the troops who are on hand. We're going to go handheld here because we're blocked by some of the other cameras. We want to try to give you a bit of a look at this. We're getting a real good look at the two men right now. They're only about 20 yards to our left. A lot of right pat personnel here, getting a chance to shake the hand of their commander-in-chief, welcome him to their base. And I'm trying to move here and get out of somebody else's way. We've got all the media here on a very small space, so we're trying to make room for each other and make sure we all get the shots we need. But the president and the prime minister taking a moment here to greet the troops before they hop in the limo and head for UD Arena. Marcia, Michelle, as you watch it from your viewpoint, any comments, any questions?
We want to thank the photographer because our viewers, as we are seeing this picture extremely well. And Mark, you're doing a great job out there. It has to be, I can just about imagine the excitement of seeing the president as well as his guest, David Cameron.
I know when he stepped off Air Force One, just seeing him with the British Prime Minister behind him, it was very exciting. I mean, it was just, you know, even though we're not there, so Mark, I am sure that everyone there is just absolutely thrilled. And as he gets ready to get into his motorcade, already they have shut down Route 4 and parts of northbound 75. So we know that the president's ride to the arena should be a quick one. And so traffic has been stopped already. So once he hops in his motorcade, it should not take him, but 20 minutes max, I would imagine. How about, no traffic problems.
And who would have thought that in March, the middle of March, Mark, that the president would be able to be here and take his jacket off? He has come at a great time meteorologically.
Well, you're exactly right, Marsh. I've covered a lot of these in the past. You and I and Michelle, we've all been in this business a long time. But I'll tell you, this never gets old. I mean, politics aside, campaigns aside, when the President of the United States comes to your town, it is always a very big deal. It is amazing to see him in person, to be this close. Very neat to see his guest, the very young British Prime Minister, is here as well. And I'll tell you, the aircraft itself, those of us here in the Miami Valley tend to be, kind of aircraft nuts. We like our aircraft, and there's nothing like Air Force One. And of course, this current Air Force One, it's got a sister plane not too far from here. Of course, the old the plane that bore JFK's body back from Dallas is now part of the permanent display here at the National Museum of the United States Air Force. So kind of interesting to have two Air Force Ones, if you will, within such close proximity. That doesn't happen very often either. See the president continuing to greet some of the folks here, and they're about to hop in the car, guys.
There they go, big smiles on their faces, and we understand that there are plenty of troops that are going to be sitting near the president as well. Also, once he gets to UD Arena, and earlier in the show we were talking to some of the students who were chosen to sit in the presidential section as well. So just a very exciting day.
Mark, I'm trying to gauge, looking at the president's height, I'm wondering if he was a shooting guard or a point guard when he was so good at basketball. You know me, I have to take it to basketball.
I've seen video of him. There's a lot of video of him on YouTube. I tell you, the guy's got game. He handles the ball very well. He's good in the open floor. The jumper looks good. He can hold his own. So he'll be a very educated fan tonight. It would be very interesting. You'd love to be the fly on the wall and hear the conversation between him and the Prime Minister as President Barack Obama gives him a course in basketball 101 American style. Don't you agree?
No kidding.
I'm wondering if he is a fan of either team or if he just doesn't mind who's going to win. I wonder if anyone has bothered to ask him that.
I would say he's a fan of Ohio.
I think he is, especially in an election year. He needs to be, right?
Yeah, it's, keeping score at UD Arena tonight will be one thing, but the score that really matters is the electoral votes in November. Let's not forget that.
No kidding. And there they go.
Yep, there they go. The State Highway Patrol. It's one vehicle serving as an escort. Actually, two. There's kind of a gap between the two. And then the two limousines. You've got the traveling National Press Pool that, of course, follows the president everywhere he goes. They're in some of the trailing vehicles, Secret Service as well. So, guys, alert the troops at UD Arena. He's coming their way.
Shouldn't take much time either because since they've cleared the highways there, he'll be there just in time for that tip-off, Mark.
All right, so as he heads out, let's send it back to you. We're going to remain on scene here. We'll have the departure for you later tonight. Again, that's expected around 9.